All right, so this is my first video on this channel in a while, and I've actually been doing some videos on another channel. I kind of wanted to start something just kind of just different than what's been on this channel in the past. And I'd been doing videos for a while, and I actually thought I was gonna be done with doing videos. You know, as I get deeper into the word, it seems like a lot of, I don't know, like a lot of stuff in the Bible talks about, the greatest being the least among us are the greatest. And to kind of strive for, more kind of just serving in kind of in quiet, not really getting up on a giant platform and trying to be the greatest. And, one chapter in the Bible that I think kind of illustrates that. I mean, like it's again, like I don't. It's hard for me to get on the internet and say like, oh, this is what this chapter means. This is what that one means. It's hard to do that. But what I can do is just say kind of how I'm currently reading into the chapter and kind of what it means to me. But that could be entirely wrong. It could change in a month, a year, you know. But yeah, I'll just kind of talk a little bit about a couple verses and just kind of what's been on my mind lately. So this is John 10, and it's about Jesus, the Good Shepherd. And in John 10:3, it says, "The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen for his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out." And I think it's interesting that it says he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out because that's very hard to do on the internet. There are definitely going to be people watching this video where I don't know their name. And um, that kind of, there's a bunch of stuff kind of in here that, I don't know, it was just kind of pointing me towards, you know what, maybe I should just get offline entirely and focus my efforts more locally, just kind of in my community and have that be where my treasure is as opposed to online. And some things have been kind of, I don't know, like even last week I did try to make a video, and I'll get into, I think, kind of some more of my thoughts, but I don't know, like things have been actually kind of lately in the past couple of weeks been pointing me to actually continue doing videos. I think it's Matthew 6:21 that talks about, your treasure is where your heart is. And, I think it's been hard for me to shift my treasure and my attention from being online to offline. And, I think as long as I keep my focus on my treasure being not on my online presence and not on all of that stuff, I think it's okay to keep doing videos, and hopefully I can help just get the word out, get my testimony out, and help people to discover these things for their own, like on their own. The intent of this channel is not to say like, oh, I'm going to, I don't know, like interpret all these things for you. It's really just to kind of share my testimony and share how I've come to, I don't know, change my ways after, reading into God's word and, doing my best to put on the full armor of God. And, I guess I'll go back. I did mention a little bit. So this is interesting. So last week I was, I don't know, I was really debating doing a video or not. And, I was trying to I actually had a couple ideas for videos. One of them was for a project that I think I'm going to work on. I've been doing a little bit of work, but I'm not sure exactly how that's going to turn out. So I kind of shied away from doing that video because I was like, you know what, I don't want to talk about this before it's like even really a thing that I've done any work on. And I'm glad I didn't do a video on that because I've done a bit of work on it in the past week, and it hasn't changed drastically, but it's definitely different than probably what I maybe even would have talked about. Who knows? But yeah, we'll see how that project turns out. But another video on a similar vein was basically just going to say kind of why I was thinking of keeping on doing videos. And it does kind of actually relate to the project in a way because, the project I'm working on, it is actually it's a website. And for the longest time, I had been turned off. I've been doing websites since I was, I think, like 14 years old, since I was very young in middle school. And that's always been my passion. And, as life went on, I felt like I reached this dead end with making websites. And I think that's a lot of what I'm going to talk about on this channel. But I felt like I kind of reached this dead end with kind of technology and websites. And I was like, you know what, this just doesn't seem like the way to go. The way to go seems more like kind of just working with my hands, working outside, and not being in front of a screen all day. But yeah, there was this one interesting video by a channel called Warning the People, and it was about, not letting Satan hijack your talent. And I think what I had done in the past was very much satanic, actually. And the stuff I was working on, it was definitely letting Satan hijack that talent. And, I don't know. So one interesting thing that I think I've come to realize is that, it's not necessarily like all of the internet has to be bad. It's just that you can use it in bad ways. And that's what I think I was doing. And what else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah. So back to the Warning the People thing. So there was this interesting video, on his channel where he talked about not letting Satan hijack your talent. And that was kind of what led me to think about, I think it's Matthew 25. And it talks about, let me see if I'll actually flip to that here. So Matthew 25 in it is, I think in the later half of it, it has the parable of the talents. And so I think it starts on Matthew 25:14, but it kind of, this is one of the reasons that kind of led me back to doing some more videos. And basically, I'm just going to read Matthew 25, verse 25, and I think it kind of sums up kind of how I was doing things. So it says, "So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what belongs to you." Actually, I'll read Matthew 24 and 25, so here we go. "Finally, the servant who had received the 1 talent came and said, 'Master, I knew that you are a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what belongs to you.'" And the reason I actually thought of this verse in when I was watching that other video, that I don't know if the other video was exactly talking about this particular passage in the Bible, but it did remind me of it because I was talking with some people a while back, and I think it was Sean who we were actually talking about the parable of the talents, and we were wondering, why did that servant just go and hide his talent in the ground? And I think it was Sean that mentioned, I think he may have hidden it in the ground because he was ashamed that it was his master's and not his, And the more I thought about that, the more I thought, I think it is actually okay to share this stuff, share parts of my testimony that, I think for a while, I was actually, let me see if I can find, because Luke 17 was one, I think the beginning of Luke 17 was one reason that I was actually very hesitant to kind of share certain parts of my testimony. And it says, "Jesus said to his disciples, 'It is inevitable that stumbling blocks will come, but woe to the one through whom they come. It would be better for him to have a millstone hung around his neck and to be thrown into the sea than to cause one of these little ones to stumble.'" And there's certain parts of my testimony and certain parts of the things that I've worked on in the past where I'm like, I don't want I don't want to have a millstone hung around my neck or I guess worse if I were to cause people to stumble. And I think in this video I just kind of want to start out a little bit with that and to say I think I do this a bit sometimes where I'll read a section from the Bible and I'll forget to read the verse after it or the chapter after it and to keep on reading. Because in in Luke 17:3 it says, in 17:3 and 4 it says, "Watch yourselves. If your brother sins, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him. Even if he sins against you 7 times in a day, and 7 times returns to say, I repent, you must forgive him. And, I think, I'm just going to say, like, certain parts of my testimony, I'm going to put them out there. I guess just to kind of serve as, again, a testimony, and hopefully, being clear right now and saying, like, they're not an example to follow, they're just parts of my testimony. And yeah, to ask for forgiveness. And yeah, I'm trying to remember, I feel like I had, oh yeah, so there's a really, actually, I think a couple interesting videos that I came across on YouTube. This was after I had decided to, I guess going back to last week. So I was gonna do some videos last week, actually I had 2 video ideas, and again, I was just having a really hard time doing them, and I was like, a lot of times when I feel like I'm meant to do a video and I am, it just kind of flows off the tongue a lot easier than sometimes it just feels like I'm trying to force it. And it felt like I was just having a lot of difficulty with these 2 video ideas. And, so I decided not to do a video last week, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to do a video. It just doesn't seem like it's meant to be. And then, I actually came across, there were 2 videos. I'll link to them in the description. But yeah, I've watched them. One of them is actually, I believe, on the entire Matthew 25, so that entire chapter. And yeah, I think that's probably a good place to stop now. So I will talk to you, I think, next week.